All right, now something I can't believe is that people have died from gooning. If you don't know what gooning means, it's basically like masturbation or anything to do with sex. Basically, that's the new word for sex, goon. So, yeah, apparently people have actually died from having sex, which is insane. Maybe it's too good. I don't know. Let me know if you guys have had a near-death experience from sex. I don't know. But yeah, today I found a video called The Worst Gooner Deaths Ever. I'll link this video in the description below. Go join the Discord, check out the gaming channel, and check out the main channel, and let's get into the video.
The asphyxiation gooning incident. On June 14, 1994, a 38-year-old man left his small home in Asheville, North Carolina, and telling his family he was going for
North Carolina.
an evening walk to
I live nowhere close to Asheville. I live on like the East Coast of North Carolina. Asheville is like the mountains. I live on towards the beach, kind of.
There is mine. He often visited a wooded area behind a local park when he wanted privacy, and the route was familiar enough that no one thought much of it. Clad in casual outdoor clothing and carrying a small backpack, he walked into the tree line just before sunset, disappearing into the dense, quiet forest. As daylight faded, he ventured farther off the main path than usual, eventually stopping in a secluded clearing about 50 yards from the trail. He set down his backpack, removed several personal items, and began preparing an arrangement using a rope tied between two sturdy trees. The setup appeared practiced, done with deliberate care, suggesting this was not the first time he had been in
the woods
or engaged in this ritual. As night deepened, the man engaged in a sequence that involved controlled pressure and suspended positioning. At some point during the process, however, he shifted his weight incorrectly or misjudged the timing. The rope system, meant to allow controlled release, failed to do so once he lost consciousness. The moment he blacked out, his body became completely unsupported. Without the ability to adjust himself or break free, he remained suspended in a kneeling position, slumped forward and unable to breathe. Hours passed, and the forest remained quiet and undisturbed. The next afternoon, on June 15th, a group of hikers walked along the same trail, taking advantage of the warm weather. About half an hour into the hike, one of them noticed something odd. When they moved closer and saw the unmoving posture of the kneeling figure, they realized something was wrong. They immediately called 911. When paramedics arrived, they confirmed he had been dead for many hours. Investigators recognized the pattern as a classic case of accidental death during a private, high-risk solitary act of gooning. The Goonside incident on January 8th.
What's even why do you need a rope around your neck to have a good time? What? That's miles ahead of my league.
Death during a private, high-risk solitary act of gooning. The Goonside
What's exciting about that
incident? On January 8th, 2025, a 27-year-old man named Nautica Malone drove.
Oh, Nautica, that's that guy that went through the drive-through without pants, and he killed himself like the next day or something because the girl was filming him. Idiot.
Of his sedan.
He had a wife and kids, dude.
Into the drive-through
I haven't thought about this guy in months.
Of Bikini Beans Coffee in Tempe, Arizona, just after 7 a.m. He had left home unusually early that morning, according to his family, saying he needed fresh air and a change of scenery. As he
7 a.m.
He approached the service window, a barista preparing for the
7 a.m. What are you trying to, bro? It's 7 a.m. You're already trying to get to it.
Morning rush, noticed him rolling forward at a slow, measured pace. When he reached the window, she greeted him, expecting a routine order. But within seconds, she realized Nautica had no pants on. She pulled out her phone and began recording the encounter, capturing the man's quiet, vacant expression as he sat behind the wheel. The video lasted only a few seconds before the car eased forward and exited the lane. The clip was shared privately at first, circulating among coworkers, but by late afternoon, it had been forwarded again and again until someone uploaded it to social media. Within hours, it was widely circulating across multiple platforms, gathering captions, jokes, and commentary. Over the next 2 days, Malone withdrew from friends and family.
It was a meme, bro. It turned into a meme, and then, like, he just straight up killed himself because he couldn't.
To relatives, he stayed mostly in his room, leaving only briefly to pick up mail or get water. He ignored calls from co-workers, disabled several of his social media accounts, and stopped responding to messages. His brother later told reporters that the shame and public attention seemed to overwhelm him almost instantly. And on the morning of January 11th, Malone left home quietly. He drove west toward Goodyear, Arizona.
Did he just, like, shoot himself in a parking lot?
Taking a long, looping route along the highway, avoiding busier exits. At some point during the drive, he called his brother, but the call went unanswered. When the brother returned the call minutes later, it rang without response. Just after 3 p.m., a passerby walking through a quiet parking area near a small business.
Wow, he missed his brother's last call. That's sad.
Noticed a black sedan parked at an odd angle beneath a tree. The engine was off, and the driver inside appeared completely still. The passerby approached slowly and tapped on the window, but there was no movement. Alarmed, they dialed 911 and reported an unresponsive person person in a vehicle. Police and paramedics arrived within minutes. After forcing the door open, responders determined Malone had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, with the estimated time of death several hours earlier. A firearm was recovered inside the vehicle. On his phone, officers found a short message addressed to his family, written earlier that morning, apologizing for the pain he felt he had caused them. The falling
That's so sad.
Gooner.
I mean, it's sad, but like, bro, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's sad. He shouldn't have. I mean, he shouldn't have killed himself, but like, dude, you can't do that. You can't goon in a drive-through. Like, that's ridiculous.
Incident. On March 18th, 2011.
I mean, I don't think he would have went, like, he would have went to jail, but like, he wouldn't have like got life in prison. He didn't have to kill himself. I mean, his wife would have left him. Yeah, that's what happens when you ruin your life. But like,
a 32-year-old man returned to his small Milwaukee studio apartment after a long work shift. He dropped his keys on the counter, turned on his TV for background noise, and headed straight for the bathroom. A few minutes later, he decided he wanted to goon. He brought a small stool from the living room and placed it beside the bathtub. He propped his phone upright against a shampoo bottle, playing a video he wanted to goon to. Based on the coroner's office reconstruction, he climbed onto the small stool so he could goon in a certain position, but the stool wasn't stable on the slippery bathroom tiles. While he was in action, the stool suddenly slid out from under him. He lost his balance instantly. He fell backward, hitting his head hard on the edge of the bathtub, and was knocked unconscious immediately. With no one else in the apartment to help him, he stayed on the floor without ever waking up. When he didn't show up for
internal bleeding
work the next morning, his co-workers requested a welfare check. The landlord entered the apartment and found the scene unchanged. The phone still playing, the stool overturned, and the man lying on the bathroom floor where he had fallen.
The phone's still playing.
Paramedics were called to the
What do you have
scene,
on
and
loop?
they confirmed he had died from a head injury caused by the fall. The latter incident. On June 11th, 2019, a 38-year-old man in rural Oregon carried an aluminum ladder behind his house and placed it against a tall pine tree at the edge of his property. He often climbed the tree to get cell reception, and neighbors later reported that he had a habit of spending long periods alone outdoors. That afternoon, he set up the ladder in a secluded spot and climbed roughly 15 feet up, settling on a sturdy branch. He began engaging in gooning while seated on the branch, believing he was
Why do we have to do it in
out of
trees?
sight
What are we doing?
and in complete solitude.
Am I missing something here?
As the minutes passed, he shifted his weight repeatedly, bracing his foot against the tree trunk while using the other to maintain balance. The branch beneath him was stable, but the ladder he had climbed was not properly secured. At some point during his activity, his movement caused the ladder to tilt backward. Startled, he reached instinctively toward it, losing his balance on the branch in the process.
Fell
Within
out of the
seconds,
tree.
he tumbled together with the ladder down the slope beneath the tree, striking the ground chest first. A hiker on a nearby trail heard the crash and discovered him unconscious beside the flattened ladder.
Yo, what is up with gooning in the middle of the forest? Is this something I gotta try,
Services
man?
were called immediately,
I mean, obviously
but
not.
despite
People are dying.
resuscitation efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene from blunt force trauma to the thorax, including multiple fractured ribs and cardiac injury. During the investigation, police found his phone, open browser tabs, and physical evidence confirming he had been engaging in solitary sexual activity moments before the fall. The D-Cut incident. On July 14th, 2016, a 45-year-old man returned to his small apartment in Eastern Europe after a day of running errands. He set down his bags, turned on a small radio for background noise, and made his way to the bedroom. He retrieved a homemade metal device he had been experimenting with and brought it to the bed, arranging it carefully for use. Based on investigators' reconstruction, he'd been experimenting on a small radio for background noise and made his way to the bedroom.
What year is this? He's a radio.
2016, a 45-year-old man returned to his small apartment.
Who still carries around a radio?
In Eastern Europe after a day of running errands.
I thought this would have been like the 90s.
He set down his bags, turned on a small radio for background noise, and made his way to the bedroom. He retrieved a homemade metal device he had been experimenting with and brought it to the bed, arranging it carefully for use. Based on investigators' reconstruction, he attempted to use the device while sitting on the edge of the bed. The device was unstable and one of the metal parts suddenly snapped under pressure. The broken...
Oh my God. A metal, what's that? What, a fleshlight? What's that thing called? Most people
arranging
call
it carefully for use.
A pocket.
Based on investigators' reconstruction, he attempted to use
they're made out of metal
device while sitting on the edge of the bed. The device was unstable and one of the metal parts suddenly snapped under pressure. The broken piece caused a deep cut to his groin. He tried to stop the bleeding, but the wound was severe and involved a major blood vessel. Alone in the apartment, he was unable to get help or call emergency services. Within minutes, he lost consciousness due to rapid blood loss. When he didn't respond to friends who visited later that evening, a welfare check was requested. Authorities entered the apartment and found the scene unchanged.
He cut a blood vessel in his dick. Oh my God. I feel that right now. That is terrible. I would never do that to you. I would never. I would never. That's
The
terrible.
device broken, and the man lying unconscious on the bed where he had been attempting to use the
Jesus
device.
Christ.
Paramedics confirmed that he had died from
What a freak.
hemorrhagic shock caused by the laceration. The obsessed
Was he like hard?
Gooner incident. On October
Oh, that would hurt so
14th,
bad.
2020, a 33-year-old man
Ooh,
woke
that's
up
my
at
birthday.
the obsessed Gooner incident. On October 14th,
October 14th, that's my birthday.
2020, a 33-year-old man woke up in his small apartment in the city. His nights had become sleepless, spent scrolling through videos and live streams of a single adult performer he believed was secretly communicating with him. To him, every post, every glance at the camera was a coded message.
Yeah, bro, it's totally not AI.
Meant only for him. Investigators later found that he had stopped going to work, cut of his friends and family, and had isolated himself almost entirely. Notes, screenshots, and printed messages littered his apartment, all meticulously annotated with interpretations of the performer's signals. Over
I can't wait to
time
see
his
you.
fixation had escalated. He convinced himself that he needed to meet her in person to prove his loyalty. That morning, he packed a backpack with essentials, including a handwritten letter and several printed screenshots, and left his apartment. He traveled by public
Yeah, bro, real charming. A letter and a couple photographs that you took of her live.
City where he believed she
I'm sure she's really gonna love
filming, following directions pieced together from interviews and online posts. For hours, he wandered near the area, checking security cameras and rehearsing what he would say. He refused to contact anyone for help, believing that any interference would ruin everything. As evening approached, he attempted to climb a fire escape to get a closer look at the studio where he believed she was working. Surveillance footage later showed him pause midway, hesitate, then lose his footing. Emergency responders arrived too late. He was already dead. The medical examiner ruled the death an accidental fall, noting that exhaustion, sleep deprivation, and distraction from obsessive fixation had contributed to his fall. Law enforcement later confirmed that the adult performer had no knowledge of his existence, had never communicated with him, and played no role in the accident.
Yo. Dude, no. W video, man. You got guys, look, if you're into all that live stuff and like paying women, you gotta know that they don't know you exist. All they see on their end is dollar bills, right? When you go on Twitch and you see those women with their boobs out and they're sitting in like revealing clothing, just like, oh, you should donate me money. I have big boobs and I'm half naked. When you give them money, all they see is their rent being paid. They don't care that you love them or whatnot. Like, dude, that's crazy that people. Let's check out some of these comments. It's crazy that people like actually believe that those women actually care about them. The ghost of the goon. Yeah, that's the guy that was in the car through the drive-through. It's insane, man. I can't believe dying while gooning, then found. I can't imagine dying while gooning and then getting found with your pants down. Another reason for gooners to stop gooning. That's crazy. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go check out my gaming channel. Go check out the main channel. Join the Discord. Go check out this video and link in the description. Hope you guys had a great day. And until next time, peace out.